Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, you'll be finding out a lot of personal details about us. This is a very sensitive subject, so please, be aware of that. If you are struggling with infertility, I definitely feel for you. I know that Costa does too. It's a very long journey and it's a very tough journey, especially when everyone around you is getting pregnant. And social media has a great way of being able to share that with everyone. So I know that it seems like everyone around you right now is conceiving, but just have hope because your day is coming. So I have a new co-host today. This is my husband, Costa. You can call him Co or Coachy, Kiki, Costa.
Just call me Costa.
I have lots of different nicknames for him, but yeah, so this is my husband. I know that y'all have probably seen him on a few of my videos, but he's never actually been on here and talked to you guys. So we have a big announcement. I am expecting a baby, so we finally conceived through IVF. We're so thankful, and it's just kind of hard to believe that we're actually here. For so long, just month after month, hearing no or having to move to a different treatment, not really knowing what was going on. It's very difficult and stressful. Little backstory on me and Costa. We've been together for, close to a decade. I think like in a year or two, it'll be a decade. So we've been together for a long time. And we knew starting our relationship, I guess, it was pretty serious. Like we knew that we were going to be together and probably end up getting married. So long story short, I guess it's really not a short story. I guess it was about, were we together for a couple years, right?
Yeah.
When we kind of decided that we were ready to start trying. So for some of y'all, it's going to be kind of weird for y'all to hear that because a lot of people think that we just got married last year. That was just our wedding. We've actually been married for a long time. Secretly, I guess you could say. Only a few people really knew. Our parents were there, so yeah, shocker, I know. So yeah, we've kind of been struggling with this secretly for quite a while. So pretty much, I guess, how it started, obviously, I was on birth control for the whole start of our relationship, I guess. Birth control never really worked with me. Just to telling me probably, this was about 5.5 years ago that he was ready to start trying to have a baby. Pretty much since I've known him, he's been ready to have a baby. Like, he's just like dad material. I don't know how to explain it. He's like, I don't know, he's just going to be the best dad because that's just how he is. He's always been ready for kids. Stopped taking birth control. I think it's kind of self-explanatory what else I mean by we've been trying for 5.5 years. So yeah, we were literally trying for a long time. And I kind of knew something was wrong. I wasn't getting pregnant, month after month, which it wasn't like heartbreaking at first because you don't really know. They tell you, don't go see a doctor or anything until you've been trying for at least a year. And so it was always kind of in the back of my head, like, is something wrong? Are we going to be able to get pregnant one day? What is it? What's going on? So let's rewind. Let's see, me and Costa have been together since I was like 19. So when I was about 20 or 21, I guess I pretty much ended up in the ER. Bad cramps, kind of felt like someone had like ripped my stomach out, and it turned out that I had PCOS or polycystic ovarian syndrome, which I know so many girls that have this condition. Some of them even have it and don't know it. It's very, very common. And I had told my gynecologist before this that I thought that I had PCOS, and she looked at me like I was insane. She was like, oh no, you don't have PCOS, you're not, textbook description, you're not overweight, you're underweight, you don't have facial hair, you don't, like all of these things. She pretty much like laughed in my face. And come to find out, she finally ran the test, they did the ultrasound, and I had PCOS. It's very mild, I guess, because it's just like I have the cyst on the ovaries, so I'm kind of lucky, I guess, when it comes to that. But I mean, ever since Costa's known me, at least a couple times a year, I end up in the ER from rupturing cyst and all of that good stuff. So yeah, that's kind of how it started. Is we found out that I had PCOS, and of course, you know, it doesn't stop there. It's kind of like if you have one issue, then you have like all of these issues. So on top of PCOS, I also have endometriosis, which a lot of women have that also. I don't know if you want me to kind of get into what all of these different conditions are, but if you want just like a whole video on PCOS or endometriosis or anything like that, just comment or send me a message and let me know. So PCOS, endometriosis, and then I found out, I think it was about a year or two ago, that I have something called luteal phase defect. So from what I understand about this is the way that my period lines up with when you ovulate, it pretty much doesn't work for pregnancy, I guess you can say, because there's like a window. I don't even know if that makes sense. A lot of people get pregnant on these conditions. You know, it's not like if you have this problem, then you're going to have infertility. So, you know, my doctor for the longest time told me, oh, you know, when you're ready, let me know. I can prescribe you some medication. Not a big deal. You'll get pregnant right off the bat. Like, it shouldn't be an issue. Tried, at least for a few years on our own.
Yeah, I mean, we tried naturally to conceive for a couple of years, and then obviously it didn't work. So we went to Brittany's doctor and kind of explained to him, you know, what we've been trying and for how long, and got his advice on where he felt we should go from there, whether that be straight to IVF, knowing her conditions, or if he felt like it may be a good chance to try with some of the other medicines like Clomid and what was the other one?
Letrozole is actually what I ended up taking.
Letrozole.
But yeah, so we tried for a few years. You know, obviously we knew that something was causing us not to get pregnant, but again, my doctor just stressed. And again, this is a different doctor. I moved gynecologists. So my new doctor, he's very sweet. He's going to be the one delivering our baby. And he told us for the longest time, you know, medication should do it, no problem. So I guess in a way it was kind of my fault for relying on that, because, you know, we were, every month it was just like, I don't know, like honestly a kick in the stomach, like, you know, you're not pregnant. Like, I can't tell you how many pregnancy tests I've bought and took, and it's just a no. And you kind of convince yourself too that, oh, I feel pregnant this month, like I really have symptoms, like I know that I'm pregnant. And I can't tell you how many times and how many months over the years I've told him, oh, I'm definitely pregnant, like I feel different this time. And every month it's just a big no. So we finally decided that we wanted to move on, I guess, from trying by ourselves naturally. And my doctor prescribed me letrozole, which is a fertility medication, a fertility drug. And if you're familiar with Clomid, it's very similar to that. Letrozole is a newer medication on the market. They say that it helps more with girls that have PCOS. So that's why I ended up taking letrozole. So letrozole didn't really give me any bad side effects. I've heard that Clomid can give you bad side effects, and I'm sure that letrozole can too. So I can also do a video on, I guess, how my letrozole experience went. So we did letrozole for a few months. They say after like 4 rounds that pretty much if you're not pregnant by then, that it's probably not going to work. So that was kind of, you know, difficult to hear, because, you know, you're on your 4th treatment and still nothing. So you wonder, oh my God, you know, what's going on? I've been told this whole time that medication should do the trick. This was, I think our last round was in December, right?
Mm-hmm. I think it ended in December.
Yeah, our last round ended in December. So by this point, we had contacted and been in touch with our IVF doctor. She had us come in for a consultation. Costa had to do some testing as well, because obviously IVF is so expensive that they're not going to just assume that it's one person just because, the whole time you've thought that, it could be both of y'all, or there could be some other issue going on that you don't know about. So with IVF, they always do testing and blood work and all of that good stuff on both the man and the woman. And so we started our IVF journey December 2018, and we were still doing our medication at this point, but we had went ahead and set up this appointment to let her know, if this didn't work, that we were ready to move to IVF. So we went on vacation, and the way that I guess my cycle or the medication worked is whenever we were on vacation, I would find out if I was pregnant or if I wasn't pregnant. So of course, in my suitcase, I probably had like 10 pregnancy tests, and I didn't drink the whole first half of the trip because, you obviously don't want to do anything to harm your baby, especially if you're trying and going through fertility stuff. You probably shouldn't be drinking, or I personally didn't. So, we went on vacation, and I remember waking up and having some cramps, and I just instantly knew that I think I, started my period. So I did, and I was like, surely this isn't right. I even ended up taking a pregnancy test just because, when you're going through infertility stuff, you are crazy like that. You will, keep testing thinking that something's wrong, and in reality, it's just how it is. So, I ended up not being pregnant. Our last round of letrozole didn't work, and it never worked. And the weird thing is that when you're on letrozole, they monitor you and they monitor your follicles to see if you did release an egg and ovulate. And every time I did, and every time everything looked perfect, they measured perfectly. I was like, perfect textbook, like I should have been getting pregnant every month. They couldn't figure out what was going on. So at this point, we are categorized as unexpected infertility, because you have someone that has these issues, but really they should be getting pregnant because everything looks so good. All the conditions are right. Something obviously is going on. So then they tell you that it's unexplained infertility. So at this point, we were kind of told that we would have to move to IVF. And we had, talked to the doctor, did our consultation, let her know that this is our last round. We're praying, crossing our fingers that it's our month, finally to conceive a baby after all this time. And unfortunately, it wasn't. Do you have anything to say about doing the medications and any of that?
From my side of things, obviously I was just there to support Britt. Obviously it's can be pretty depressing just to know obviously something's wrong, and like she said, you see a lot of your friends and other family members and things getting pregnant. So I guess from my understanding, from how she felt, it was, what's wrong with me, etc. And so me playing my role, I guess, was just supportive and being there, and obviously, hoping and praying that we get our chance. And so I think, Britt kind of got down on herself a lot, when the medicine wouldn't work, or, after the third and fourth round, it still wasn't working, which should have worked from what we were told. So I just think you were down on yourself a lot when you shouldn't have been. But, it's understandable. It's not every girl, but many girls' dream to be a mom. So, if you get that, or if you think that may not be able to happen to you or for you, it can get to you. So, just know that, it's not as easy as it is for everybody. So, if you need some help or you need to ask questions, there's no harm in, or nothing wrong in reaching out and looking for some extra help. So I think it was a long journey and a hard journey for sure, especially for Brittany. But I did my best to play my role and support her and be there for her. So, and we're here now. We're here.
Can't believe it. Yeah, so I hope I'm not missing anything, and I know this is probably like jumping around a lot and stuff. I was supposed to make a list on my phone, and I did not do that. I'm sorry. But yeah, so pretty much that was our part from, trying year after year, month after month, naturally just, we were young, we were ready to have kids, but it wasn't like, oh my God, this needs to happen right now type thing. So, we had some time. We had a few years to kind of see what it worked. Yeah, to try, because most people say, oh, it's going to take at least a year, no problem. But, that doesn't happen for everyone. And when it doesn't, you kind of start to freak out. And then you move to medication. And then that doesn't work. So then you really start to freak out. So, it was really, really hard for me, especially even before I started medication. Just like seeing girls that I knew or went to school with. Okay. I'm trying not to get emotional. Sorry, I was getting a little emotional. So, yeah, don't get down on yourself if you see girls that you know or that you went to school with that are conceiving and having babies. Cry and call Costa and tell him to come pick me up, that I saw that so-and-so is pregnant on Facebook, or, just like stuff like that. Like I would just let stuff get to me, and I even went through stages of not liking people or hating people, which sounds horrible, but I mean, it was my truth. It was just that I was mad that they could get pregnant and I couldn't, and
You're okay.
try not to cry.
Well, you are now. You're good. You're okay.
Okay. So. Okay. So, sorry. But yeah, I guess that's kind of, we tried so long on our own, and then we did medication, letrozole, that didn't work. So we did our vacation. We had already did our consultation with our IVF doctor, and I sent her an email while we were there and told her, that we unfortunately did not conceive, so go ahead and set up our appointment, stuff like that. We had already set up an appointment because with IVF, it's so backed up. I mean, some places are even backed up, like there's a year or two waiting list to even get on it. So we had already previously made an appointment for when we got back from vacation because they had an opening, thankfully. And so yeah, we ended up having to pursue IVF, which I always kind of in the back of my mind thought that it may take IVF for me to conceive. I don't know, like maybe God telling me something, or I don't know, I just always told my mom that I thought I would need to do IVF, and it ended up being that way. I know it sounds super weird, but that's just how it worked. So we got back from vacation, which it ended up being a good trip. I mean, it was kind of, that day was really hard and sucky and not fun, but we ended up making the best out of it. We had a really good vacation. And so when we got back home, we kind of knew what we were in store for, but it's a little scary because IVF is very, very invasive. It's not like just taking medication. I mean, there's surgeries involved. There's, it's the real deal. I mean, it's pretty much your last step before adoption. So, yeah. Do you have anything else to say so far?
I think we kind of came to that realization, like Britt said, that, we've done this. It's been a 3-4 year journey now at this point of kind of trying naturally in a stage of, if it happens, great, but we're not going to do anything to prevent it from happening. And then moving towards a stage of, all right, now we're really actually ready for sure. Let's really try. And then that not working, and then moving forward to the medicine and being told, all right, this should do it. And then doing that 3 or 4 times and that doesn't work. Just kind of beats you down a lot. And it had me wondering, like, is there something wrong with me? Is this my fault, kind of thing? Which, I mean, I don't have any kids, so I didn't know one way or another if it was, I knew the situation that Britt was in with the endometriosis and the PCOS and everything, but with the doctor saying, yeah, the medicine should work and kind of bypass those issues and still not being able to get pregnant, kind of started worrying me more and more of if there was something wrong with me. So it was a tough journey, to say the least, for both of us, I think. Brittany obviously with her own issues and me with my own issues, and kind of in our own heads, but still being there for each other and supporting each other through this and encouraging that we'll get there. It doesn't matter. It may take a little longer, or we may need to do a little different, a couple of different ways, but we'll get there, kind of thing. So I think that vacation was a little kind of like a last hurrah. If it didn't work, which it didn't with the letrozole, then when we get back, we're going to go ahead and move forward with IVF. So I think we enjoyed the rest of the vacation and kind of came back with that understanding of, all right, well, like, this is it. Like, this is what we have to do. So.
Yeah, so pretty much we get back from our vacation in December and we start IVF. IVF is very invasive, like I said, so it's different, like, it's a new journey, it's scary. I don't know anyone my age that's went through it. I do have people, in my family or that are older that I know that have done IVF. IVF is something that isn't cheap, and most insurance companies do not, what's the word I'm looking for?
Cover?
Yeah, do not cover IVF, which kind of sucks. I feel like all insurance companies should have to. It's just like they make it so hard for you. Even with adoption, it's just so expensive. So I definitely recommend that you look into saving up money or financing or something like that.
Finding an insurance that covers it.
Yeah, finding an insurance
they are out
that
there.
covers it, because we are so lucky that we are so young and we kind of knew what was going on. That if you kind of start and prepare early, or if your finances are right, that you can just pay for IVF. So it's just kind of a lot to go through. You already have the stress of not being able to conceive, and then you have some people that also can't afford it because it's the price of a car. So that's a whole nother issue that people have to face, which really sucks. And some people, it's not even a thought, like, they just can't afford it. So it's just kind of heartbreaking to see stories like that. So I've always said that going through this journey, I would love to help people find a way to get IVF. So if you have any questions or anything like that about IVF or where we went, or if you need help finding a place or any questions like that or cheaper option, then, please message me and maybe I can help. I've even talked about like setting up some kind of like grant or something to help people, because it's just a hard journey to go through. So we got back from vacation and we went to our first appointment. They do so much blood work and ultrasounds, and poor Costa, he hates needles. And did you do blood work once or twice?
Once. I had once.
Yeah.
You did multiple.
Yeah, I did blood work like every other day, literally. So Costa had his initial blood work, they do a sample, kind of see what's going on with him. Luckily, everything with him was great. There was a very small issue, which for someone who didn't have infertility problems like me, they would eventually get pregnant. It just may take longer. But with me, having these problems and his small issue, it just wasn't going to work. So IVF was our only option to try to conceive a baby. And then with PCOS, you always wonder, do you have good quality eggs? Because yes, you can produce a lot of follicles, but are they good is the question. So that was one thing that I was worried about. So lots and lots of blood work. I think at one point I was going in for a week or two straight every other day to do sonograms or ultrasounds and blood work. And I don't know how long that lasted exactly. Was that the first after the initial consultation, I think?
Yeah.
Yeah. They monitor you, I'm pretty sure. So then I started what they call STIMs. So STIMs is the medication. These are actual injections that you have to give yourself. So our lovely cooler full of medications got mailed in the mail to us, which was so expensive. It was kind of scary knowing that, that was being shipped to you and waiting at your door, because it's just, it's what's going to help your body conceive.
Kind of like a lifeline.
Yeah, kind of like a lifeline. And yeah, it was pretty scary. And I remember the first night that I did my STIMs or injections, we were at my parents' house. Was there a football game going on? There's something going on. We were over there watching something, I don't know. And one of Costa's friends came by. And it was just so weird. I was sitting in my parents' dining room. I had my whole clean, disinfected area, have my gloves on, have all my needles ready to go. And he walks in, I've known him forever. He's one of my good friends too, but he's like, what is going on? He's like, should I be here right now? And I remember I was just like, oh my God, this is so embarrassing. So I had all of my injections, and I don't have a problem with needles whatsoever. I'm just having infertility problems. You go to a lot of doctor's appointments, you get your blood taken a lot. So I've never had an issue with needles like Costa does. And I'm kind of thankful that even though he does have a problem with needles going into his own arm, he luckily didn't have a problem giving me injections, because for some reason, I don't know what it is that just freaked me out. I could not give myself an injection in my stomach. It just seemed like the worst thing in the world that I had to do. So Costa gave me my injections, which whenever you're stimming, you take injections every single night at a specific time. And so we started our injections. All of the stimming injections go in the stomach. So I think I had, how many did I have? Was it 3? Or 2?
I think it was, I think started out 2 and then they added a third one in after a week or 2.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah, so 2 or 3 in the stomach. And again, I can go more into detail if you are going through IVF. I have actual footage and video of me doing injections. So if you want to know what stems I was taking, what medication and dosage they had me on, just comment or let me know. I'll probably may even post it anyways because I have all the footage from our IVF stuff anyways, so I'm gonna post it. So we started with those stems. Yeah, towards the end, I think they add in another needle.
I think so. Yeah. I think it's 2, and then it goes to 3.
Yeah. So towards the end, which I think I stemmed for like 10 to 11 days, right?
Yeah.
10 to 11 days. And during this time, again, you're having so many ultrasounds, more blood work. They monitor you so close because pretty much they're, tricking your body into preparing to conceive and have a baby. And it's very tough and hard on the body. My ovaries were just like swelling and huge, and there's so many follicles on both ovaries. So follicles will hold an egg in them. Some people have follicles that don't have eggs, but they're supposed to have an egg in them. So the whole point of stemming is they're kicking your body into overdrive to produce all of these eggs because you have what's called an egg retrieval, which is a surgery. So after doing all the stems and your body's just in so much pain, it's there's so much pressure, you're just ready to have the surgery and not have to deal with all the hormones. Well, I mean, you have to take more hormones after that, but it's just different. So I did the stems, and again, lots of doctor's appointments, ultrasounds, and then they tell you that you're ready to trigger, which is another shot that you give yourself, which is going to release the eggs within, I want to say it's 24 to 48 hours. Mm-hmm. So they tell you when your body is ready, you do the trigger, and then they tell you, okay, you're going to come in on this day for your surgery. So I triggered. They said everything looked good. I had quite a few follicles. People with PCOS, they usually have a lot of follicles, which can be a good and a bad thing. So whenever I did my egg retrieval, we went in for surgery. They actually put you under, so it's a surgery. It's pretty scary. So they take your eggs out that you produced, and they store them, I guess. Well, not store them. Pretty much whenever I was under for surgery, Costa, they have Costa's sample. So as soon as they take my eggs out, we did an extra thing added on to IVF, which is called ICSI. So just normal IVF, they would put his sperm and my eggs in a petri dish, I guess you could say, and then, if it makes an embryo, it makes an embryo. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But we paid extra for what's called ICSI, so they take his sperm and actually inject it into the egg. So, you're taking a whole other step on top of that to make sure that this does fertilize, and that's going to be an embryo. So with my egg retrieval, they retrieved 31 eggs, which is quite a bit. I was happy with the number, but again, with PCOS, you don't know if your eggs are good. So I had 31 retrieved, 24 were matured, 19 of those were fertilized with his sperm. So actually made embryos, which embryos are obviously babies, so 19 of those were fertilized. And then after that, they let them grow, I guess, into what's called a 5-day blastocyst. So a day 5 blast is what we're going for. So even though you start out with 19 or whatever number you're at that fertilized, doesn't mean that's going to be how many make it to the day 5 blast. So by the time that rolled around, we got an update from our embryologist that we had 7 embryos or babies that made it to day 5. So again, we were super happy. And then at this point, they can either do a fresh transfer which I did not do, or they will do a frozen transfer. So I had to do a frozen transfer because whenever I did my egg retrieval with the high amount of eggs that were retrieved, I ended up getting what they call OHSS, which pretty much is my body like overstimulated. All of the drugs that I was on, obviously along with the PCOS, doesn't help. Ended up giving me OHSS, which was probably the worst pain I've ever had in my life. My right ovary was the size of a baby's head, and my left ovary was the size of a grapefruit. And the pain that OHSS gives you, I can't even begin to describe. I mean, Costa can tell you, like, I was in bed for a week, and even to get up and go to the bathroom, I would like hunch over and scream literally and cry from the bathroom or from the bed to the bathroom just to go to the bathroom. It was just like the worst pain that you can ever think of because, you know, you have an ovary, which, you know, your ovaries are tiny. If you Google what ovaries, you know, if you're a man watching this or whatever, you know, ovaries are very, very small. So for an ovary to one to be the size of a baby's head and the other to be the size of a grapefruit, that alone is so painful. And then also you have all this resting fluid and blood on your abdomen and pelvis, which again is so painful. So that lasted about a week, and it was not fun at all.
No, not at all.
Yeah, so you can only imagine. So if I was to do a fresh transfer, I would be, you know, hopefully pregnant during that time or pregnant until proven otherwise, which just wasn't going to work with my body. There was, you know, I tried to push it so hard that I wanted to do a fresh transfer. My doctor was just like, you know, pretty much there's no way, and it's just not a good idea. But I am very lucky that we did do a frozen transfer. In my head, I was just like, you know, again, it's just longer that we have to wait, longer that we have to wait. You know, I didn't want to wait any longer. I was ready to be pregnant and to be a mom. And again, just more waiting. IVF is a long process. So yeah, they freeze our embryos. They froze them for a month while my body kind of calmed down, I guess, and got back to normal. And in a way, I think it was good because you kind of have some time to relax, and going through all that pain, you're just like, you know, obviously it's not good to have a baby in that environment, so it definitely makes sense. And if you have OHSS or, oh, I feel for you. And again, I can do a whole video and talk through on OHSS as well.
Yeah, was there anything that you did that helped it or made it better in any way?
Yes. Lots of Gatorade, hot soup, salty stuff. I know that sounds really weird, but the salt, I know that your body is like retaining so much water then, but the salt really, really helps. So salty foods like soups, Gatorade is the main thing. Lots and lots of Gatorade, and then a heating pad. I mean, I just feel like I probably would have died if I didn't have my heating pad, but like, you have to have a heating pad. Heating pad is the main thing, but OHSS it's horrible. But luckily, made it through. I'm still alive. And so now we are at the point a month later after egg retrieval and OHSS. By this point, my ovaries were not back to normal. They had gone down a lot. The fluid had gone down that was on my stomach and abdomen. But again, it wasn't normal, but it was better and I could function. You know, it wasn't something that I was like in constant pain. You know, at this point, I didn't even know that they weren't completely back to normal until my reproductive endocrinologist told me that, hey, you know, your ovaries are looking better, they aren't looking better, you know, whatever the case was. So a month after that, we did what's called a transfer, which transfer day is like the biggest day, the day that you wait for when you're doing IVF, it's like a huge deal. So I'm part of all these different IVF groups, and I had my little sign that said, like our 7 embryos and baby Pagulatos, and had like the date, our transfer date on it. And was it you or my mom that got me roses? It was my mom, wasn't it? I think it was my mom. It was either Costa or my mom got me white roses. And I had 7 of them for my 7 babies that are frozen. And Costa wrote me the sweetest note before he went to work. I don't know, maybe I'll post it one day. It's super sweet, but
Maybe not.
Yeah, maybe not. So, yeah, transfer day is a big day. It's the day when you're pregnant until proven otherwise. So, pupo, right? Pregnant until proven otherwise. So, my mom took me to the doctor, and Costa left work and met me there. And we did our transfer, which kind of, I don't know, that day just kind of feels like a dream. It's just like, is this really happening? Like, am I going to be pregnant this time? So we ended up putting in 2 embryos. Most people only do 1, especially at our age, because, it's so likely that they're both going to work, or those 2 embryos can both split and turn into triplets or quadruplets. And, I was prepared for that. I was prepared for twins or multiples. It's just, I don't know. Some people are freaked out by that, and some aren't. And that's just what we decided to do.
The transfer itself was really cool from an outsider to watch and to be a part of and witness. You could literally see the embryos on the screen. It was under a microscope and it was blown up. So I could see my kids in an embryo form, like right there, and it showed them in the little syringe, and they sucked it up into like a plastic kind of tube at the end of the syringe, and then implanted, or insert, I don't know the proper term, inserted them into your uterus. But they had everything on the screen, so you could see it go into the tube, and then you could see it implant, and then you could see them there that they were implanted. So it was really cool to see, and an incredible experience, at least from my side, to witness.
It was definitely incredible. I don't know, it's just like a feeling that it just doesn't feel real. It just feels like it's a dream. Like, could this really be happening? Is it, am I at the point where I am going to be pregnant from this? And when you do a frozen transfer, they make you drink, like a bottle of water or half a bottle of water before you come in, because you have a sonogram tech that's doing a sonogram, so they can make sure that they're, placing the embryos in the right place. And for that to happen, I guess your bladder has to be full, so I don't know, for whatever reason. And it was so painful. Not painful because it hurt, but painful because I had to go to the bathroom so bad. And I was so worried that I was going to pee all over my doctor. I know that sounds horrible, but I was just like, I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'm going to go to the bathroom. And that's like all I could think about. I was just like crying because I was so happy, because I was like watching the screen of, my little babies' embryos that were being implanted. And I was also crying because I had to go to the bathroom, I think. So after the transfer, they pull you out of the OR room, and you're back in your like hospital room, I guess you could say, and they tell you that they want you to lay there for 20 minutes.
Yeah, I think that was the worst part.
That was the worst part, and I have video.
Because you almost peed all over yourself.
Yes. And I was like, I cannot wait for 20 minutes. I can't even wait for 2 more minutes. And I was so scared because we spent all this time and so much money that I was so worried that I was going to go to the bathroom and, go to the bathroom and they come out.
Although,
like you don't know, but my doctor.
Well, from what she said, it's kind of like putting like a marshmallow or something in a bowl of Jello or something like that. So basically, they said it wouldn't matter if you went to the bathroom, but of course she was scared at this point after everything that it doesn't matter what the doctor says. If she goes to the bathroom, it's going to ruin everything. So
I ended up listening to my doctor, and I trusted her. I believed in her. She literally is a saint. I love her so much. And she was pretty much by this point like part of our family. And I was able to lay there, I think, for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, you didn't last long.
I didn't last long. And I have all of this on video. I have to kind of like make a video of our actual like IVF journey if y'all are interested in that, of like doctor's appointments and the egg retrieval and the transfer date and all of that. And I just had to go to the had to go to the bathroom. So I ended up going, and I was so scared because I was like, did I mess this up? Am I gonna be okay? And everything ended up being fine. I laid down, started to get super emotional. We ended up playing the same song that they played while they were putting the embryos in my uterus. We were like playing that again to let them listen to it, and just relaxing there for, the rest of the time that I had to lay there. And then they just tell you, that you can put your clothes on and go, and it's just kind of hard to believe. And again, there's other stuff that I did. They say that after you have your egg retrieval or your transfer, to go to McDonald's and have McDonald's fries because it's like good luck. And
shout out McDonald's.
Of course I did that. I did all of this stuff, the things that they tell you to do. I did the pineapple core, the french fries, the pomegranate seeds, and all of that. So if you're interested in like a more detailed video or even like a question and answer on IVF, if you're going through it or just curious, because some people are, it's, not every day that you know someone or someone our age that is going through IVF. Even though Costa, you have a few friends that are...
Yeah, I have 2 or 3 other friends right now that are actually going through it, and in the midst of it right now, so... I feel like more and more people, and it may just be kind of that thing that once you're doing something, or if you're driving a certain car, you see that certain car everywhere, and so but I don't know, I've talked to a growing number of people who, it's interesting to talk to them and hear their journeys, and because not everybody, it doesn't work for everybody on the first try. Some people are 2 tries, some people are 3, 4 tries, so I can only imagine after everything that we went through, everything that they've gone through, getting to the step that we got to and failing after that a time or 2. But eventually I think it will work for everybody, and you just kind of got to have faith and pray and hope that everything is going to go well.
Yep. Yeah, pretty much. So, we were really lucky that we put in 2 embryos, and one of them ended up sticking. So, it was kind of heartbreaking, especially for me, knowing that our other one didn't make it, or, what was wrong? Why didn't it stay in there? So, that was hard for me. I think probably harder for me than for you. We're so blessed and so happy that, I am pregnant with 1 baby. And it could have been that was, God's plan, that maybe my body couldn't handle twins. So, it's just kind of like, what happened to that one? Why didn't it work? We are so blessed, and I feel so blessed to be able to carry, my child and to be where we are after our journey. And I know everyone's journey is so different. Most people don't get pregnant on the first round. And I know a lot of people that are on their 2nd round or 3rd round. And I've even heard of people that have spent, $500,000 on IVF. Like, sometimes it takes time, and you know, it's just kind of a sucky thing and not fun at all. But in a way, I'm blessed for our journey, and there's a reason for it. And I always kind of wanted to keep it a secret that I guess we're having infertility problems. That's probably why a lot of people didn't know. And it was just, you know, everyone always acts like it's a taboo thing, or that you can't talk about it, or, you know, like, oh my God, he or she has infertility, like, you know, like acting like it's a horrible thing. But in reality, like, a lot of people go through this. And, you know, Costa told me that he thought we should share the journey and let people know that this is what we went through. And I'm sure that, you know, there's a lot of you out there going through the same thing, or that may in the future, or have already went through it. So yeah, that's why we just wanted to kind of sit down today and tell y'all our story, right?
Yeah, I think throughout our journey, I would always come home from work, or come home from, you know, doing whatever, and Brittany would be on her laptop watching some video, or on her phone watching some video of another girl who had gone through the exact same thing and talking about her journey, and I feel like it really comforted her, and she, you know, learned so much about the journey and about IVF, and different terms to use, and what happens good, what happens bad, different things like that. Just learned a lot about it throughout the process that we were going through. So I felt like it was a good idea, and encouraged her to make this video to kind of, you know, give that to some other girl who's going through the same thing. And as you never know who may see this video, and who may feel comforted by you, that another success story of IVF.
Exactly. I mean, I spent hours, probably like, what?
Yeah.
I mean, like,
countless time.
It's insane. I mean, I was addicted. Like, I would watch so many YouTube videos.
She was like obsessed with it.
I was obsessed, really, yeah, on, you know, success stories, or why these people had infertility, or what went wrong with them, or what did these people do? What did they do? You know, like, where did they go to do IVF? Like, it was a whole new world for me. So even going through, you know, the medication on letrozole and stuff, I would watch all kinds of videos, or different things on letrozole. Just, you know, the YouTube world and the technology that we have now to experience and watch other people's journeys, or side effects, or whatever it may be from these different things. It's pretty remarkable. It really is. So yeah, that's why we wanted to let you guys know, kind of let you in, I guess, on our life and what we went through. And I just feel so lucky now to be carrying my little baby boy, and he is due in October. And I have other videos that I want to post, but I know that you guys have been waiting for this, so I wanted to get this video up first before I kind of jumped into anything pregnancy related or anything else. And I do have all of the documentation, I guess you would say, or video footage from doing letrozole and IVF and all of that good stuff. So I will be posting it so you can kind of see the inside world, I guess, of what goes on. But yeah, if you have any questions or comments, I guess, just comment down below, or you can send me a message, find me on Instagram. I will post his lovely Instagram as well, so you can find him. He's pretty hot. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm sorry if we were like all over the place. I mean, I literally have like no notes here. We just kind of went out on a limb and just wanted to come here and talk, and yeah, that's about it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hope you enjoyed.
Yeah, and let me know if you want to see more videos with this one. And thank you guys for watching.